What tools do you need to own to be a good homeowner or how-to hero? I'm going to show you right now what I use, and it's not all inclusive, but it is a good start. First thing I'm going to assume is that, really you probably should have your own socket set. I'm not going to drag my socket set out here, but I've got a Craftsman 200-piece socket set that I started with years and years ago. I actually started with 2 sets of those. For some reason, my wife thought I needed 2, but it's been really nice to have one here in the shop and one that I can take mobile with me when I'm out and about. But you see me use a lot of these tools on my videos, and I kind of want to walk through what I'm using here. And this is not an all-inclusive. I'm not going to get into a debate with any of the big YouTubers on what you should or should not have. It's just one of those things that I've had as a handyman and as a homeowner that I personally can do just about anything in my home with, depending on what project it is that I'm actually trying to do. I know a lot of the videos I show how to do certain things. You may take a specialty tool or whatever, but you always see me, typically when I'm doing like a typical home repair, I'm using some of the same tools, and I thought I'd just get real with you today and show you what I'm actually using. So we'll start off with pretty simple stuff, and that's your basic flathead and Phillips head screwdrivers. Now I know this is getting really down into the basics of, well, Tony, this is what everybody says you gotta have. I'm telling you right now, Phillips head, flathead screwdrivers, you can just about take apart the world with those 2 things. I know you're going to get the specialty drivers and things like that that may, break the mold every once in a while. But Phillips and flathead screwdriver, I use the medium size. They're sized different ways. Look, 6/8 inch screwdriver, 3/16 is what it says on here. Craftsman, bought it years ago. This one doesn't have its size on there, but it's medium sized Phillips head screwdriver. Perfect starter tools to have. You can just about take anything apart and destroy anything you want to with those 2 tools. Ask my parents when I was a kid. There's a washing machine that still never got put back together, and a truck that I will not speak any further on. Anyway, next thing you really need to have is a pencil. You don't have to have a carpenter's pencil, but I do prefer carpenter's pencil. Life's so much easier with a carpenter's pencil, and a carpenter's pencil sharpener, or a knife. You can use either one. But these are great for marking anything. My wife needs a picture hung on the wall, anything like that. I take the pencil, I can mark with it. As long as you don't dig into the wall, you can mark with it, wipe it off. It's good to go. But you can use a mechanical pencil from your kid's book bag. Just make sure you put it back, because they will get a 0 on tomorrow's homework assignment if they don't have their pencil. Anyway, moving on. Another basic shop tool that I like to have, and that is the tape measure. 25-foot tape measure is always a good starter. This is a cheap one from this is from Ace Hardware that I bought because I had left my other one on the job site. Anyway, 25-foot tape measure, 1 inch, 3/4 inch to 1 inch band, wide tape will be very good, and learn how to read the tape measure, because those big numbers are great, but if you don't know those little hash marks, it can get kind of confusing when you're doing work, especially if somebody uses a fraction. Not all of us are great at fractions, but we need to at least learn how we can turn that jargon into actual usable numbers and measurements. Just make sure you get one. So far, these things are really basic, and I know you're thinking, man, this is stupid basic stuff, but, there's a start somewhere, and this channel is about how to. It's not about, putting together really fancy shelves. It may be one day, and I may get into stuff like that, or, fancy materials. I mean, this is about basic homeowner stuff. This is about how to refinish furniture, how to do things around the home. And this stuff, yeah, it's basic. It is what it is. This is what people come for. They want to know how to do certain things. Another thing, tape, electrical tape. And I've seen people put cars back together with this stuff. It's not the best, but electrical tape. It's great in the home. Something that, now we're getting a little more specifics of stuff that I use around here that I use a lot of, and it may be a more specialized tool to some, not quite specialized to others, but we can move into those areas. One's a stud finder. It's a great tool to have when you're hanging pictures, when you're putting shelves on the wall, anything you're doing with a sheetrock or any kind of paneling on the wall that you need to find the studs behind it. You really need to be using one of these, learning what they mean. It's not just important for the studs per se, but it also will kind of help you find piping and things like that. You don't want to drill through a drain pipe. Trust me, you don't want to drill through a drain pipe. That makes a mess. But stud finder, cheap, throw it in a bag, you got it around the house. Another thing that I use, and I know these are old, I know these are not the best in the world, but for a beginner, these are great. And these are wire strippers. They've got little bolt cutters, wire strippers. You know, they've got a bunch of different uses that you can do with them. But these are one of those things I've had since I was very young, and this is the original set actually. And I use these things. I mean, I use them almost as much as I lose them. So if that tells you anything, and that's quite often. All right, moving on to a little bit more, you know, specialized tools that you may not have money for, but I recommend it's probably some of the first buys. This is probably after your basic hand tool stuff. This is probably one of those I recommend you buy it immediately if you can, maybe at a birthday gift, Christmas gift, something like that. And that is a battery operated cordless drill. And that is mandatory. That is mandatory that you do. All dads are required to do it to make sure that it's going to operate properly before you actually use it. To go along with that to go along with that drill, I recommend you getting a driver of some sort that holds a Phillips head or a flathead bit in the end of it. It's a simple driver. And I like the ones that have the sleeve on it that slide up, the sleeves that slide over, and it helps stabilize whatever it is you're screwing or unscrewing. I mean, it's a huge saver. This keeps you from, when you're putting a hole in the wall, you slide that up over your fastener, whichever fastener you're using, as long as it goes inside that little sleeve. This keeps you from adding a second hole next to it. Think about that. How many of you have done that? I know I have. Anyway, this goes in your driver. And it's just one of those great tools. You will use this immensely, whether you're doing a home project or you're doing a handyman project for somebody else. Trust me, you will need that. And it's another one of those tools that you'll probably use and lose quite often if you're like me. All right, something that really gets specialized that I moved up to when I was doing my handyman business, side, trim, paint, carpentry, whatever you want to call it, I was doing years ago. And that is the battery-operated brad nailer. Now, this is one of those things you don't have to have, but if you're doing projects around the house, whether it be trim, whether it's refinishing some furniture, building little small doodad projects like I do here on this channel, whatever it may be, this thing is invaluable. You will literally save so much time and so much energy with one of these. You see over here in the corner, I've got a compressor with air hose, and I've got the brad nails on the shelf behind me, and those were my go-to things. And it was great, dragging those things around, taking 30 minutes to set everything up, drag out hose, make sure everything was oiled and ready to go, looking for the brad nails, all that good stuff. But honestly, man, when I went to one of these right here, it has been just an absolute lifesaver. The worst thing I have now is making sure the batteries are charged, so that when I get on the job site or whatever it is I'm doing my project around the house, I've got a battery. They're a little bit heavier too. I mean, I can see fatigue, especially if you hang that on a work belt all day. It's heavier. But at the end of the day, I'm not dragging that compressor out or any kind of compressor like it, and I'm ready to go every day when I get to work. Something else to go with your drill is drill bits. These are the Harbor Freight cheap titanium nitride, whatever they want to call it. They're cheap. I don't care. They drill a hole. That's what I need them to do. This is not for fine finishing. This is not for metal work. This is not for, I mean, I'm sure you can, but they're going to break. They're going to dull. They're going to do all that stuff. But like for $9 for this 29-piece set, I mean, really, who cares? It's a drill bit. It makes a hole. It does exactly what I need it to do. I don't need the $42 bits from, wherever to do the same thing. I mean, it's doing what I need it to do. Wood glue. It's literally what's holding the world together. I don't know. But anyway, wood glue, I use the Type. This says Type Bond 3, but I believe I've got the gallon of Type Bond 2s back here on the shelf. I just had this one, and I'll just refill it. You can go to Amazon and get those cool, glue jugs that everybody's using. I mean, it's fine, like $10. I mean, it's great, but look, get you a small bottle at Home Depot first, or wherever you buy your glue from. Get you a small bottle, use it, then buy you the gallon, just refill it. I mean, the glue comes out the same way all the other ones do. I don't care what they say. It glues. Next thing. This is not mine. And you see me in videos saying this is not mine. This is my wife's palm sander. Little DEWALT palm sander type thing, And these things right here are freaking amazing. You will use those. Any kind of furniture work, finish work. I mean, again, this is not the stuff you have to have as a homeowner. But this is just a little extra things that I do, that I have. That I've got a ton of tools that I've accumulated over the years, from multiple table saws to routers and things like that. But these are just some of those things that, man, having these, you can go down to your local thrift store, find you a piece of furniture, and start working on it and make some extra money in a few hours just with these few things. I mean, you know, it just is what it is. Okay, so one last thing that I found really useful over the last few years, and it's pretty cheap. You can get it pretty cheap, so it's kind of one of those things you just have to keep it in mind when you're shopping, and that is the tool bags. Tool bags. So a couple of years ago when I started my handyman business, I bought a whole bunch of the roll-around plastic carts, you know, trays, boxes that snap together and lock together, and they're great. I mean, they really are great, but they're freaking huge. They are absolutely a space hog. Even in the shop, I've got them hidden under this outfeed table here right now. But they're great. They do their purpose. I mean, I can leave them in the back of the truck. They can get soaking wet, whatever. No problem. But I have found starting me a specialty bag for the home. So when I'm doing a project around the house, let's say I'm replacing an outlet, I don't want to have to go dig a screwdriver out. I don't want to have to go dig the electrical tape out. I don't want to have to do all that stuff. I can go to my satchel. This is satchel, not a purse. Anyway, I can go to my bag. I've got everything in here. I've got a little bit of Romex in here that's stuck in here on something. I got a little bit of Romex in here. I've got fish tape in here. I've got outlets that I've taken out and not thrown away. I've got wire nuts. So basically what I'm trying to say is I take a cheap $9 Husky bag, or whatever bag it may be, maybe a Craftsman, whatever, and I throw my electrical stuff in here. So my stud finder, wire strippers, electrical tape, Phillips head, flathead screwdriver go in here amongst the other electrical items that I have in here. I set it off to the side. That's my electrical bag. I do the same thing for the plumbing. I've got a plumbing bag. You can take multiple items of those and multiple bags for the home. I mean, this is not going to be, I mean, this could be carried out to mom's house and replace some stuff for her. I mean, even if you need to do that, you just grab and go with it. It saves time. It helps you be a little bit more productive when you're doing it. And I recommend, you know, starting you a bag like that. Now, obviously, this is a bit bigger, but you can get the bigger bags, put them in there. For me, I take like my brad nails and stuff, and I just stick them back here on the shelf because they're not going anywhere right now. They're not leaving the shop. They're staying with me. My DEWALT drills, usually I leave them laying, you know, on a shelf somewhere, on a table somewhere, so I can get to them again. I don't make a special bag for those. I've got the blow molded cases that go with them, but I rarely use those. Battery chargers sitting. I know everybody's got these nice little, you know, battery holder, drill holder things that hang on the wall. You can see my whole garage has got shelves pretty much around the wall, so I can make some neat little stuff like that, but I really don't need to. So take these. Same thing. I'll take them, stick them on a shelf somewhere so that they're sitting there, so I can get to them. You know, drill bits I'll take and put in one of my toolboxes off to the side. Tape measure, it's one of those items that I find a nice little place to put it that I can't find it later, and then I spend 30 minutes searching for it. So, you know, that's just something I do with that. It does have a belt clip on it, but anyway. Pencil, same thing. I've got 12 of them. I can only find one. Glue, same thing. Put it up on the shelf up here so when I need it, I can get to it. And that's pretty much it. So, you know, think about the basic tools you need. Go around your home, look at the stuff that you may use, may not use. You know, just look around. Say, okay, I know I need a flathead screwdriver to take off outlet covers. You know, those kind of things. And start making a little small list. Get together with your father, get together with your uncle, get together with your family members that have done this stuff before. Find out what they use commonly. You don't have to buy every tool in Home Depot. It's great if you can, but you don't have to buy every tool. So just, you know, find some tools, get stuff together. Those are your little bags that you can do, and it just makes life a lot easier. So this has been just a little small tutorial on tools you may need, tools you may not need, and I'm hoping you find some use out of it. If you like the video, make sure you click the like button. Please make sure you subscribe. I'm going to start doing little small videos like this, I think. You know, maybe explaining some of how these tools work and what you can expect from them when you're using them. Nothing special, but it's just one of those things. There's a lot of people out there in the world that are looking for a little knowledge on how to do stuff basic. I mean, you know, there's a lot of people that can put nice furniture and things like that together, but sometimes you just need to know how to use tools and what tools you should get, what tools you should buy when you're starting out. And those are the ones that I've got that I can think of that I would start out with. There's a bunch more tools you can get to start out with. I'm just saying I can destroy a house with just what I showed you here today. So thanks for watching.